What's going on, boys? It's Keg and Coop from Rum Pure Sports with another NASCAR Cup Series breakdown video. Last week, good week, another back-to-back 2-0 sweep for me and Coop. Everything's rolling along. Richmond was last week, went relatively well. And we got another winner on the last show at 14-1. So it was a great weekend again. And what's going on, Coop?
Oh, not much, man. Hope everything's going well for you. Last week was a good week overall. We had in the live portion, Bowman, who we bet earlier in the race, who actually ended up winning. And then we had Hamlin and Logano. So we had first, second, and third coming down near the end. And, it was a great day. It was really awesome to see the people who were watching tag along when they got Bowman. They got him at 20, 25-1, better than both you and I. So that was a huge win for the people that follow along. It was the third time this year we've hit a 20-plus winner. So things are good. The pre-race bets, fortunately, your two carried me. The two I put in were dog crap. Logano, first stage winner. I think he finished second. So it had some legs, but not really. I don't think he ever got up to the front. And then Newman was dog shit all day. So, fortunately, like I said, yours two picks helped me break even.
Well, we were both on the Byron matchup prop from the show.
Yeah.
We both liked that. And then again, I went back to the well with Will Byron to hit the top 10. And I think that's 7 weeks in a row. The kid has been in the top 10. So overall surprises, I think that I understand that Hendrick Motorsports car won the race, but I think that we pretty much pegged the race dead to rights last Saturday because we thought it was a Gibbs weekend. And if Kevin Harvick doesn't hit the wall with 12 laps to go, Denny Hamlin wins that race going away. Right. So, he ends up hitting the wall, and we had bet him during last Sunday's live show also, but at much worse odds. And we end up getting Alex Bowman home at 14-1. And you know what? A lot of times in NASCAR, you'll either get screwed on the final 10 laps or you'll get fortunate and you'll hit a price in the final 10 laps. Yeah. So last week we were fortunate, but we will most certainly get screwed a couple times in the final 10 laps throughout the year. What were your takeaways from the race?
The thing is, we pegged Bowman at the beginning, and he had a very good car, and he got up to third, fourth, and then there at the end, he took it away from Hamlin and Logano. And I think if he would have been up there earlier, he would have got there earlier. I think, people say he lucked all into it. I don't think he lucked all into it whatsoever, man. I think, he had just as good of a car as Hamlin and Logano the entire day. It just took him longer to get there. I mean, he had that pit road issue that put him back one time, and he fought back through that and put himself in a position to win. So congrats to him, man. And, I don't think it was luck whatsoever. I think he had a very good car.
I agree. He had one of the 5 best cars on the track pretty much the whole day. And a lot of times in NASCAR, all you have to do is hang around in those top 5 or 6 spots. And because there are so many cautions at the end of races, as long as you hang around and you get a good restart on that last restart, which he did, he got a great restart. I didn't expect him to clear Denny Hamlin and pass him, but I mean, he had the car late to do it, and credit to him. All that said, it was another disappointing weekend, I think, from the from the big boys at Hendrick, wouldn't you say? Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson, not the best weekend?
No, not the best weekend. Kyle Larson, I mean, doesn't really concern me. Not his best type of track. I mean, although he's been, good at Richmond in the past, but the mile and a half and bigger tracks are his forte. Chase Elliott's the one that is struggling right now, and he's going to get it turned around. Not a problem. It's just a matter of time. He's going through that bad rut. I don't think he has hit the wall or anything to that nature. Just things aren't clicking for his team currently, and he's going to be there. So, but like I said last week, I mean, what do you think the odds would have been, man? That you see all three Hendrick team members win before Chase Elliott does.
Pretty substantial. I mean, it's crazy. It's actually crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But you know what though? We saw Will Byron and Alex Bowman improving over the last couple of years, and we knew Kyle Larson, once he got in a Hendrick car, was going to crush. Mm-hmm. So, I don't.
Bowman just makes a lot of mistakes at races, and he made one last week. Not necessarily him, but his team. But he was able to overcome it because the car was that good. So he's somebody to watch throughout the rest of the year.
I'll tell you what. I know that Kevin Harvick hit the wall with 12 laps to go, but it was definitely his best race of the year. He was in the top 10. He was in the top 10 all day. Mm-hmm. He made his way up to the top 5 a couple times. Never really had the lead, and it's unfortunate that he hit the wall with like 12 laps to go or 17 laps to go, whatever it was. Yeah. But I mean, a much better showing from him than every other race so far this year. No.
No, most definitely. I talked about Harvick last week, and keep an eye on him because the numbers were starting to trend toward him as being favorable as far as being able to bet him. And he did good. Had a very solid car the entire race, and was unfortunate there at the end. So, I was looking to bet him at top 4. He wouldn't have won that regardless because Logano, was in front of him. But, like I said, I'm going to continue to watch those numbers because last week they were in the plus 300s for him.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I live bet NASCAR heavier than I pre-bet it, obviously. And now we turn to the second restrictor plate super speedway track that we basically have on the circuit in terms of 2.5 mile tracks. Now, Daytona obviously was the first one. We hit Chris Bell at 50-1 on
that was a road track.
What?
Road track, we hit him.
Who won the was that the McDowell race?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, so that was the McDowell race. Okay. Yeah, so then that was the one cup race we didn't win.
Right. That was the
Daytona
marathon show.
Right.
And so on and so forth.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So it's a complete shit show crapshoot at restrictor plate super speedways. Now we can talk about who we think is going to be up at the front, a Ford usually runs strong in terms of their horsepower and overall power on super speedways. But at the end of the day, it's the most volatile race on the entire circuit, Talladega and Daytona, because at any given moment, you can get caught up in a 15 to 20 car pileup and you can completely shit the bed. And your car, and you could be done before your day even starts, really. Right. So it's a very tough race to approach in terms of pre-race betting. Much harder than any other track that we'll talk about for the rest of the year. So in terms of pre-race betting at Talladega, what do you look for?
Cars that I know or drivers that I know will, be near the front. You got to take out the equation of the wreck, because you can't plan for the wreck. You don't know who's going to be in the wreck. So I'm looking for drivers who, in the past, have been near the front, have given them some opportunities to win, and combined with the numbers, so to say, that you're getting on them is the biggest thing that I'm looking for. The numbers are much better this week. The numbers are tempting to make you place pre-race bets, but you got to keep in the back of your mind just how volatile it is. It's very risky to make pre-race bets for this particular race.
Yeah, I'm not against anybody throwing a little money on, 35, 40, 50 to 1 shots pre-race. But like looking at the odds for tomorrow, I understand how good Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, and Ryan Blaney have been at this track. But to bet Talladega at 6.5 to 1 on Denny Hamlin is absolutely absurd. Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney at 9 and 10 to 1. Absolutely absurd. Do I think that they're going to be 3 strong cars? Yeah. We know Denny Hamlin owns Daytona. He's great on restrictor play tracks in general. So you would assume he's going to race well here at Talladega like he has. Ryan Blaney won the last 2 here at Talladega. I get all that. But it's impossible to put your money down pre-race on 7, 9, and 10 to 1 shots, in my opinion, when you're talking about a race that's as volatile as this.
Yeah. Like you said, if I'm putting money down on this race, pre-race, which I have, it's going to be 30 plus. It's going to be a big bang for my buck. Put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And, looking through the props, like matchups, are there any matchups in this race that you like?
When we look at matchups, there's one on BK that sticks out to me. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up so I can get it for you. It's best finish in Group C. It has Alex Bowman plus 240, Ricky Stenhouse plus 250, Harvick plus 250, and Truex plus 270. The reason it sticks out for me is because Harvick and Truex are magnets for accidents. When it comes to these, racetracks, they always seem to find the accident one way or the other. So you're basically betting that. Stenhouse is a very good driver at these, restrictor track plate tracks, and he would be the one that I choose. But again, it's only plus 250. I'm not going to, dangle any money on plus 250. So that's that. And then if you look at BetMGM, they have some, they've been really weird this week. But they have some matchups that intrigue me solely because if you go to DK and you look at all the individual matchups,
right,
they're all minus 115, minus 120, minus 110, so on and so forth. But on MGM, they have some matchups where Kyle Busch is plus 230. Kevin Harvick's plus 260. There's 6 of them. Bubba Wallace plus 200. Truex again plus 280. Chris Buescher plus 240. What I was thinking about was taking all 6 of them, putting some money on it, and if you win 2 of them, you're going to break even. If you win 3, obviously you're going to win more money than what you put in. But again, it's just randomness that could happen. And then when I look deeper, 3 of the matchups were against Denny Hamlin. So if Denny Hamlin does good, you're screwed. If he does bad, you're in a pretty good situation. The other piece was Eric Almirola was one of the matchups that you were against, and he was a negative versus a driver. And Almirola is very good here too. And then you have, the people that you're betting for would be Truex and Harvick, like I aforementioned, were magnets for accidents here. So, and part of me, it looks like a good bet, but at the end, I think it's a sucker bet.
Yeah, Eric Almirola has been solid here. He's got the best average finish through the last 10 races at Talladega.
Yeah, he won here a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and Ricky Stenhouse is second best, who also won here a couple of years ago.
Yep. But, when it comes to matchups, that's what I'm looking at. I don't think I'm going to go any of them, though.
Yeah, in terms of live betting theory for this race, anybody that watches our Sunday show every weekend, a lot of times, depending on the track, they might cut the lines off inside 30 laps, depending on the track. On another track, it might be 15 laps to go. In general, in my experience with sports books, 2 things happen at restrictor place tracks like Daytona and Talladega. Number one, you're usually able to bet on these drivers inside 2 laps to go. And number 2, for the most part, as opposed to any other race that you'll bet this year live, for the most part, the odds tend to somewhat stay the same from what they are in terms of pre-race. Now, like maybe Denny Hamlin might go down a little bit, or Logano or Blaney, if they're in towards the front of the race with 100 laps to go or 50 laps to go, but they'll still be higher than they would on any other track that you'll bet them at live this year. So I tend to not even place a live bet personally on restrictor plate tracks until we're inside 10 laps, maybe even inside 5 laps to go. So keep that in mind if you're watching the live show tomorrow. Now, I know Coop gave us the challenge to try to bet make these live bets as early as we can. And we did that last weekend, and we got the winner at 14-1. But restrictor plate racing, it's really hard to live by that challenge rule, because you really have to be inside only a few laps to go before you know who's even going to be towards the front, because the drafting is so crazy. You can go from 1st to 20th in 1 lap. You agree with that, Coop?
Oh, most definitely. And going back to what you were saying about the odds, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen, in the second stage where, a driver, maybe even 2, but at least one driver has gone down to like plus 100, plus 150, plus 200, sometimes even, negative those numbers. If we see those tomorrow, we have a problem. Because I don't know what the betting world would be thinking about, putting a bet on, those type of numbers at any point during this race. I would be very shocked if any time anybody goes under plus 500. tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think with 3 laps to go, I think that the favorite will probably be 6-1. So 5-1 makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
That's the hard part too. Exactly what we're saying. Not only this is a tough race for betting in general, because I don't want to bet too much pre-race because of the volatility, and then during the race, you don't know when the books are going to be locked. I know what you say. Hopefully they'll get them back if there's a wreck with 2 laps left, 3 laps, 4 laps, whatever. But I don't have confidence that they will. fully. So, we'll have to wait and see.
Well,
Because,
Daytona,
a lot can happen.
Daytona this year, they DraftKings and Bet365, they still had the lineup with 2.5 laps to go in the race.
Good.
At Daytona.
Good.
So
Excellent. So.
All right. Another thing, and I've gotten screwed by this a lot, Coop. I cannot tell you how many times that my car that I have money on has been in first place with 1 lap to go, and I've lost the race. You know how many times in the last 5 years that you've seen the second place car and the first place car take each other out on the final turn? And it's huge, man. Like I'm not necessarily sure. I want my car to be first with a half a lap to go.
Well, this is a thing. Blocking has become so different now. Back in the days when Logano and Keselowski were winning all these races down at Talladega, they were very good blockers. And it was much, much easier to block in those days. You would just see them swing from the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom constantly, and they were good at it. Now, over the last couple of years, they've changed the package, and blocking has become increasingly more difficult because the speed from the cars that are approaching, these leaders has rapidly increased. And
the draft,
it just makes it that much difficult to block. I saw a stat where from 2013 to 16, the first place car was only involved in like 5% of the accidents. 2017 to 20, it's up to 25%.
Yeah,
Top 10, 2013 to 16, it was 25%, over 50% in the top 10 now. So, it's very, very, changing, evolving. And one thing that doesn't get enough credit is spotters. You got to have a very, very good spotter when it comes to these Talladega and Daytona races. They don't get enough credit for what they do. And then back to the piece where you're talking about betting. That's the other tough piece. You were talking about having a leader. Being in the lead don't mean nothing when there's 2 or 3 laps at Talladega, because you can come from 10th to 1st in 2 laps. You can go from 1st to 10th in 2 laps. It all just depends, and that's what makes it really hard. Because again, let's say there's 3 laps left, and there's 7 drivers, that have +5 to +1,300 odds. Who do you choose? You don't know.
Right.
I mean, there's not going to be one car that sticks out more than the other tomorrow. It's all about being in the right place at the right time. And,
well, look at that. Look at the Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
At Daytona, now I remember after you mentioned about Chris Bell, we talked about Michael McDowell at 25 to 1 with like 5 laps to go, but neither of us put any money on him at all.
Yeah.
And he ended up being in the right place at the right time, and he ended up getting the job done. Like Coop, I think about how hard it is to win Talladega back to back. I mean, so many things had to go right for Ryan Blaney to win those races back to back. Like the storyline is like, is he going to three-peat? Is he going to get 3 in a row? I mean, that is astronomically difficult to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, again, like that's the hard thing, because like we're going to have 7 or 8 drivers to choose from when it comes down to the end that are going to have those 5 to 1,300 plus odds, but you can only take so many, before you draw dead, and don't make a putt. So that's going to be the challenging piece.
All right. In terms of plays, I'm 99% sure I won't have anything on the spreadsheet for this race, and it will probably all be live. For the purposes of the video, like maybe I'll throw, a tenth of a unit on, like $100 on something. I guess I will, like whatever I give out in this video. But the majority of my my bets are going to be live. So what you want to give anything out today, Coop? In terms of play?
Yeah, I'll give one out. So
What do you got?
I already have one. I put it into score earlier this week, but GM was asleep at the wheel with Ryan Priest. They had his top 5 and top 10 odds all screwed up. And, fortunately I put that bet in and they brought it back to a cash out. And, I cashed it out at 4.3% of 4.3 times what my bet was. So, for me, I'm already making a profit in the very second we started. The other one that they did mess up on was Matty DiBenedetto. They had him at 66-1. I kept that bet. He could legitimately win this race, and I'm not going to pass up 66-1 odds on that. He's now been readjusted to 30. BK already had him at 30, and I think Bet365 had him at 28 when BetMGM had him at 66. But the one, I've looked through, like the bets I talked about earlier, but the one, that I'm going to place and stick by is Ricky Stenhouse to win stage 1 tomorrow at 20-1.
Ricky Stenhouse to win stage 1 tomorrow at 20-1.
Yeah, Stenhouse is always up front. He's led laps in the majority of these Talladega races. He's won one of these races. He's having a great year. He's running with a lot of confidence. His confidence is going to be high tomorrow, and 20-1 is a good number.
Okay. And the fact that he's starting 17th doesn't even matter when you're talking about Talladega.
No. You know who won the last two? I went back and looked at this. So, who the stage winners were for stage 1 Talladega. Tyler Reddick won one of them last year. Chris Buescher won the other.
All right. Well, for the purposes of the video, I'm going to stay with Coop there. And I'm going to say Ricky Stenhouse Jr. plus 900 to be the top Chevy tomorrow is going to be the bet that I throw $100 on, just so I can ride it with the people that actually tail the plays from this video. But 99% of the money and the plays that I bet tomorrow will be inside the last 20 laps of the race tomorrow afternoon. That's just a heads up for people that are looking to watch the show tomorrow. I assume the same thing is going to happen with Coop. He might pull the trigger a little earlier than me tomorrow, but I wait really late when it comes to restrictor plates. Fucking twatty. Yeehaw, the left turn whispers. I love it.
No, I will not be baking a bet before, let's say, it's 188 laps. There's no way you can make a bet before, let's say, lap 168, like you were saying.
20 laps to go.
The only way that could possibly happen is, let's say, a Denny Hamlin gets some damage early in the race and, his car's not completely 100% and they drop his odds, tremendously.
Right.
And he shows that he can continue to run with speed.
Right.
And, could possibly end up there at the end, because, we have seen some, not completely damaged cars win at these races, but, some that has some dings and bruises, so to say. It's not uncommon to see that. So, I won't be betting early in this race whatsoever. The other thing that we need to watch, and I remember this from Daytona, was if they have any matchups that are live, we need to watch them, especially when the wrecks happen, because I know at Daytona for FanDuel, I was able to put in 2 bets for drivers that were against each other, and one driver was in a wreck and the other driver wasn't, while we were under a red flag, I believe. And, you know, if they continue to, you know, do that type of nonsense, I will take advantage of that once again.
Brandon said Priest top 5 at 6-1, Coop. Is that good enough?
Oh no, I cashed that out. It was 35-1, man. And they changed it, I think, to 4.5 or 7.5-1. You know, I took my 4.3 times my original bet on Ryan Priest and cashed it out because just of the volatility. And like I said, you know, I kept Matty D because I would, you know, he could win. And I mean, Priest could definitely finish in the top 5. He's done very good at you know, Talladega and Daytona. But, you know, I would just rather take the free money, to be quite honest with you.
All right, boys. That's it. We're out. I know normally we have more plays, but we approach these restrictor play tracks a little differently. So it's a Ricky Stenhouse show. Coop's taking the shot on him at 20-1 to win stage 1. I'll throw a little bit of money on Ricky Stenhouse, top Chevy, at 8.5-1. Aside from that, we will be on about a half an hour, 20 minutes before Talladega starts tomorrow afternoon. It's an early start. Starts at 2 o'clock, I think. So we'll probably be on a little before 2. And, yeah, then we'll be watching and live betting the race all day. So Coop and I will be back later on. Anybody that's a Run Pure Bet subscriber, I'll be on for the Fightcast UFC 261 all night long, starting in about 45 minutes. So I'll see you guys then. Aside from that, hope your action runs pure this weekend, and Coop and I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Later.